This morning we're having a conversation. So we're in this series where we're doing stories and big stories from the Bible. And so we are going to be in the book of 1 Samuel this morning. We're going to be in chapter 17. Starting in verse 4, it says this. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His weight was 6 cubits and a span. Thick. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor. Okay, so picture that. It's campy a little bit. Bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. Okay, crazy. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, whatever that is, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. Fitted. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and his iron point weighed 600 shekels. Okay, so I don't remember how many the other weighed, but his shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and are you not the servant of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me." Okay, so I'm just going to stop reading there because it goes on so long. But just a spoiler, I wanted to read that part so you know, Goliath was really big. And I think we all know that just based on the story. In case you're wondering how it goes on, David comes and he's the smallest person, and people are lining up every single day, and they're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then David's like, I got it. And then he has that version of a slingshot of that day, whatever that is, time's up. And and then he gets him, right? We know this story, right? So as I'm thinking about this story and as I'm thinking about this conversation that I wanted to have with you all this morning, it's the crux of this story, right, is that between you and where you want to be, between something and the freedom that you seek on the other side, there's a Goliath. That is the essential crux of this story, and that's something that we all can understand and relate to. This is why these stories have lasted and lasted and lasted, and there's so much wisdom in the Bible, because between where you are and where you want to be, seemingly is a Goliath. And we read stories like this to remind ourselves that however small we feel, however insignificant we feel, right, we have the ability to not only face that, but there are some real, miracles that happen, and there are things that are so big they feel like they can never be defeated, and then we get to watch them fall. They will fall. They do fall. And so that is a really important thing for us to know, because we all have somewhere that we are and somewhere that we want to be. Maybe it's personally we have a freedom that we want. Maybe it's in our relationship, in our finances, in our friend group, in our career. Maybe it's political. Maybe you're like, we need a Goliath to fall in this current climate. But whatever it is, we all know that experience of having something in front of us that stands between where we are and where we want to be that seems impossible, that seems impassable, that seems undefeatable. It's a relatable human experience. And as I was thinking about this morning and this week and what I wanted to preach, a few weeks ago I was having lunch with my mom. If you don't mind my mom, she's very funny. Often unintentionally, but I live. And she is been on her own faith journey, right? Ever since Sammy and I came out, and my mom is the most loving. She's just such an ally. It's like being gay is her thing now, you know? She's like, we do this. And she's the sweetest woman, and she grew up Catholic and then got super into evangelical Christianity when we were growing up. And ever since that, she's been on her own journey and sort of trying out different ideas and different ways of being in the world and different ways of doing life. And we're sitting at lunch, and she said, "Oh, you guys, I've really just started to reconnect my relationship with Jesus. And I've really started to just bring it all comes back to Jesus." And we're like, "Oh, wow, that's, kind of surprising." She said, "Because, I haven't really trusted Jesus ever since I realized that he was a man." In case you're wondering where I get it, okay, this is my mom. And that's what I mean by she's so funny, and she did not intend that to be a joke. And we cackled at the but she has So she talked about these experiences of feeling super close to Jesus and wanting to be near to Jesus and believing in Jesus and believing in miracles and spending all this time and journaling. And my mom was like in it to win it. Like she had a prayer closet. She had a prayer shawl. Like she was doing all the things and then felt like that she couldn't have that anymore. And then now here she is years later circling back and being like, oh my gosh, I'm coming back to this relationship with Jesus. And I had this realization that I think a lot of us in our faith journeys, it's more of a spiral staircase than it is anything else. In that we deconstruct and we reconstruct and we have all these moments, but I think we come back to a lot of the same ideas and the same realities and the same truths that we've always known, and we get to see them from a different vantage point. Like this morning in our house as we were getting ready for church and we were making coffee, there was worship music playing, and I'm like, this could have been a scene from college, where we're like doing this, and we're doing the same things now, but we're at such a different vantage point, different people, but it's the same players, right? It's like Jonathan was saying earlier of like you have these things where you feel like you can't have them, and then you realize like, oh, I've actually known, this is a truth that I've known, right? And as my mom's talking, she's talking about this idea of miracles. I was like, yeah, you know what? Call it miracles. Call it manifesting. Call it aligning your chakras. Call it the universe is working for you, not against you. Call it Mel Robbins, let them. I don't know. Okay, someone's reading it. But these are truths that we know, that sometimes when something feels impossible, that when you feel like there is a Goliath who will never topple, then you see it topple, and we know that truth. We all have a story deep in our bones about this being a reality, that we actually can do this, that there is freedom on the other side, that there is liberation, that these things are possible, that joy can come after pain, that all of these things are happening, that miracles exist, and we get to see those from a different vantage point. I remember early in my Christian days, I would be like, all I have to do is raise my hands at the right time and drive and sing enough and speak in tongues, and then that will heal everyone, the world actually. So you're welcome. And sure, the thing has changed, and the way I understand my own participation and God's participation and how we dance with this thing, it's all changing on that spiral staircase, but I always have to come back to the reality that in the end, I think everything will be okay, that there is freedom, that Goliaths do topple. Because what I know to be true, why stories like this persist and persist and persist and persist, is because Goliath? That's what I call him, but Goliaths are a guarantee. That is a fact. That is, Eric talked about being born in Jim Crow and then looking around again. It's Goliath and Goliath and Goliath. Those are a guarantee. In our life, we have Goliath and Goliath and Goliath, and we need an unshakable belief in the reality that Goliaths can fall and that we get to participate in them falling. That maybe miracles do happen. That maybe we can all be free. And I think about this in the context of it being the last Sunday of Black History Month. Which was no one's good news, by the way. Questionable. And some guilty laughs. Women's History Month is next, so, okay, you got another shot. But as it is the last Sunday of Black History Month, and I think a lot about the folks who participated in the toppling of a Goliath that seemed impossible had to have an unshakable belief that it would fall, that people would be free, that justice would come, that freedom was available. Whether or not they would get to see it in their lifetime, whether or not they were going to be the ones to throw the final rock that hit David or Goliath right in the thing, and I don't know, we didn't get to that part, but I think it hit him right between the eyes, as I remember from VeggieTales. And side note, I love all the people on TikTok, what radicalized you? And it's an episode of VeggieTales. Okay, no, literally. I'm like, we should bring those back. So, but all of these people participated in this movement because they had an unshakable belief. And the reason we are able to persist in work after Goliath after Goliath after Goliath comes our way is because we have to have a foundational, unshakable belief that we will all be free, that it will work out, that freedom is available, that miracles can happen. And again, we're on a spiral staircase. I'm sounding real old. I feel like I preached a message like this, like back in my megachurch days about like miracles on miracles, and then like fog came and someone started playing like the perfect song and the lights open, right? But I still believe that. I still get to believe that. That has never changed. All the dressing around it may have changed, the way I participated in changed, but I still have to have an unshakable belief and reality that freedom is available and that Goliaths do fall. And if that is a reality, then I get to participate in that story. And my participation is more than just throwing my hands up at the right time at the song. And worship is a beautiful thing. That's not me knocking it. But now my participation is active. And it stays active. And I keep participating because I have that belief that this can change. That this situation in my life will turn around. That this relationship can get better. That our country can do better. That the world can look more like love. That the ozone can somehow, we got a Band-Aid, we can slap it on, okay? I don't know the details of that one. But I believe in that miracle as well. And that is what keeps me going in this. And that is what keeps my participation going. There's a, I used to quote this all the time. If you've been around New Abbey, you may have heard me say this. It's a quote that says, in the end, everything will be okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And I've actually quoted that for years as Maya Angelou. Googled it this morning. It's John Lennon. So, yeah. But I'm sure Maya appreciated it. It's a good quote. Isn't that funny? I literally was like, oh my gosh. I think I've like many places I've said that. Like Maya Angelou always said. But it feels so true, and it feels so the truth of the wisdom of scriptures, that in the end everything will be okay, and if it's not okay, it's not the end. That Goliath is a guarantee, but Goliaths can topple. We know this. We know this. Every single person in this room knows this in their bones, that there is a hard day you didn't think you were going to get through, and you did. Everyone in this room has made it through the hardest thing that they've ever been through. That is a fact. And if you made it through that, you can keep making it. And if that is possible for you, that is possible for us collectively. And if we can anchor our bones in that reality and that belief that we can be free, that there is freedom, that we will be okay, then we will participate in the work in a different way. And there is a lot of work to be participated in, not just collectively, but individually. I want us to be a church of people where we walk around believing that the Goliaths in front of us can topple. And we can encourage each other in that way. And we can work together in that way. That is a beautiful return for me from some of the churches that I grew up in. And I do think that was a beautiful part of a lot of those communities, is we really did believe that Jesus was like with us. And we felt that. And that is beautiful, and we still get to have that. Even though we're deconstructed and we can do all these things, and you can marry two people, and you can like be gay, and you can like do whatever you want. Great, we want gay miracles, okay? We want it all. I almost just went into like what I think would be some gay miracles, but I was like, don't do it. Not here, Beans. Come see my solo show, Gay Miracles, available on. But how would it look if we got to hold that truth in our bones and remember wisdom that has persisted for thousands of years when it tells us that though there is a Goliath between us and the freedom we want, it is destined to topple with our participation in this ancient story. What a beautiful thing to go into our week holding. What a beautiful thing to go into the next season holding. What a beautiful thing to know as we look around at all the Goliaths that stand in front of us. And so I want us to anchor that truth in our bones. And I want us to sit with that. My friend Jonathan's going to come back up. He's going to sing a song for us, over us. I'm not going to say with us, unless you know the words. And I want us to as he sings this over us, and as we hear these words, I want us to hold that truth in our bones. And I want us to remember the reality that we get to participate in this ancient story that says, in the end, everything will be okay. I believe that we are going to be okay. I believe that we are going to make it. I believe in these things. I believe that Goliaths can topple a tongue twister. So Jonathan's coming up. We're going to hold that truth in our bones. And we're going to listen to these words. Does that sound good? Okay. How's that stool height?
It's great.
Okay.
It's perfect. Thank you, Brit. Everybody give a hand to Brit. Yeah, one more thing I just wanted to say is prayer transports us, and I believe music does the same. And so when we pray into this faith and belief that someday we'll all be free, I want us to really try and feel ourselves going into that place and pulling things down from that heavenly realm into this earth now, because I know it's so easy to get discouraged the way things are right now. Is there a sustain pedal on this? Oh, there it is. Got it. And even if I make mistakes in this song, at the end of it all, we'll still get to where we're going. Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Hold on tight and you will last. Keep your self-respect, your godly pride. Get yourself in gear, keep your stride. Never mind your fears. Brighter days will soon be here. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Keep on walking tall. Hold your head up high. Lay your dreams right up to the sky. Sing your greatest song. Keep going, going on. someday we'll all be free. Yeah, take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
As Jonathan was singing, I was thinking about, you know, ever since in the past few years, there's just been a lot of heaviness, and Sammy has constantly kind of been like, what were people listening to? Like we've been like, what were the songs? What was the music? Like what has gotten people through, right? And that's a song from Danny Hathaway, who saw a lot. Dottie. What did I say? I said Danny? Danny Hathaway. Who's that? This quote from Danny Hathaway. Still I rise. I am so sorry, Donnie. But Donnie, there's just wisdom that people carry. There's a reason that the stories in Scripture have persisted for thousands of years. There's reasons that songs like this still hit. I have chills. I'm tearing up back there. There's a reason that people who have been and seen certain things carry a truth in their bones and in their body that we get to remember and access. There's truth that we carry in our bones and our body that we get to remember and access. And we get to set ourselves up well. How do we set ourselves up well this week, this month, this year, for a lifetime to participate in that? By the things we listen to, by the ways we ground ourselves in the morning, by the space we give ourselves to remember there was something that we thought was going to get us and it didn't get us. And that should inform how we move today. There was something that they thought was going to get them and they didn't get them. There was a Goliath that they thought would never fall and it fell. So how does that participate in how I move forward today? How do we bring these things to the front of our mind and participate and hold our head up high and live into the reality that I do believe that someday we will all be free. And if that is true, then that should change the way my life looks today. We always hammer this down at New Abbey, that it's not some one day we're going to go and we help the elevator goes up, but that we're like the heaven is now. The kingdom of heaven is here. It's not, we're participating in it. And so if we believe that one day we'll all be free, how do we participate in that on a daily basis? And just the reset to our nervous system after hearing that song, the hope, the things that we feel, we get to participate in that. Like we get to do that. We can choose to listen to those things and to ground in those things and to be a part of those things. And now might be a more important time than ever to do that. So let's do that. And with that, how many times can I say that? You're going to grab 3 or 4 people around you and answer this question. Where do you need to believe in miracles right now? Enjoy.